Okay guys, so we're going to model the keyboard. The step one is you want to save your project. This is really important. Go to your H drive, and wherever you're saving your stuff, I'm going to save it into a folder called, I'll make a new folder. So to make a new folder, you press this button, and I'll call this chessboard P7. Spelled correctly, but that's okay. So this is going to be the board. I can do all of these in separate files if I want to. But for right now, let's just go ahead and create this as a Blender file. I'll save it, and now I'm going to delete the cube. It's important that we start working with collections. So for instance, the camera and the light are in this collection. I'll say cam light. And the importance about this is that I can just hide that, and it gets out of the way when I'm modeling. So now with scene collection done, I'm just going to right click and say new collection, and the new collection will be called board. So all the things that I have for my board are here, and that's going to allow me to get started. Now, before I do anything else, I want to go into my File Explorer, and I want to set up my entire project. And to do that, I'm going to, first of all, go over to this PC and go to the Share drive. I'm going to get a couple files from over here. I'm going to get materials, and I'm going to get the chess set, copy those, and I'm going to copy those into my project folder. So back again at this PC in my H drive, I'm going to go into Blender and find chessboard period 7. So I've got my one file. Now I'm going to paste these guys in, and now I'm ready to go. I've got materials, I've got my reference image, I've got my first Blender file, and typically what I like to do for these files also is number them by the year, then the month, then the day. And so now I keep all of those things in numeric order based on the date, and I can go ahead and get started. Let's come back over here now and see how this is working. Okay, first I will add some materials. So I'm going to come over here to append. Notice this only works when I'm in object mode. Make sure in your object mode, hit append, go over to my materials. It'll happen to look in the same file. I go into materials, choose metamassive materials, and again, when I click on the file, this weird thing happens in Blender where I see another set of folders. Now I click on material, and I can choose whatever I want. I'm going to choose a wooden material and two other materials. So let's choose whatever you want, but I'm going to choose wood 4. I'm going to choose a couple more. I don't know if there's a way to do more than one selection at a time. In the old Blender there wasn't. I haven't tried it in this new one. But let's go ahead into car paint and choose glossy yellow, and then finally I'll do one more append and say append, and I'll come in and choose, let's say, metallic blue. Okay, now these are over here in the material folder, so let's go ahead and add chessboard. I'm going to add mesh plane. Notice I am in object mode. There's my plane, and I can look down from the top, number pad 7. Let me turn on my screencast keys, and so you can see what's going on there. In any case, click on this, and I'm going to scale this up a bit, maybe to there. If you want it to be exact, you could hit the End tab, and you could go to these tools, and you could go ahead and say the size 2.958. But if I want to make exactly 3, I could say 3, 3, 3, and now that's exactly 3 units, 3 Blender units, whatever that means. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and tab into edit mode, and I want to make a chessboard. So hitting 1 on the number pad, I'm going to look at it right down the y-axis, and I'm going to say extrude on the Z. I'm going to extrude again on the Z. This time I'm going to scale in a bit. I'm going to kind of make a rounded edge now, so extrude on the Z. Undo that. So extrude on the Z. Good. Extrude on the Z, and now I'm going to scale it in just a bit. Undo that. My cursor was too close. Extrude again, and this time scale it in. Extrude again, and this time scale it in. Extrude one more time. And now I'm going to just extrude up. So that's kind of a basic shape for my chessboard. And now that I've got this part, I'm going to extrude and scale that guy in. And now I'm going to extrude again on the Z, bring it down, and that is going to be the base. So if I tab back into object mode and want to take a look at this, I can turn back on my light if I'd like and just hide my camera. And so now I've got some light shining in here. I think I'll change my light. If I select it and choose the light bulb down here, I can change it to a sunlight, drop this down to about 9. And that's a pretty good looking chessboard. Since I already have my materials appended, I can choose my chessboard, come down over here to materials, and find wood 4, and now that's on there. Good. Now I want to take this piece and I'm going to modify it. So if I go back into model mode and I select this guy, I tabbed into edit mode, select this, I'm just going to say Shift D, raise it up on the Z axis, and that's going to be my board. I'll go ahead and say extrude again on the Z, and I'm good to go. Let's give this guy a different color now. I'm going to say, this is important, Control L gives me all the linked vertices. So now I just have these guys selected, and if I come back over to materials, I can do 3 things. Make a new slot, assign a value to that slot, so I'm going to come down here and say glossy yellow, and then I say assign to my selected portion. And if I look at this now, that has glossy yellow. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do my checker deselect. So I've got the top face only selected. I'm in edit mode. I think I will come over here. I have to subdivide, so I've got vertex select. I'm going to subdivide this, and I'm going to bump the number of cuts up to 7. That gives me 8 squares on each side. And so now, if I look at this from, let's say, select faces, I'll look at this from the top by hitting number pad 7, and I'm going to select all the faces on this board. And that does not seem to be working. I am in edit mode. Are they already selected? Here, let's come over here, deselect everything, come back and look at it from the top again. That just looked weird to me. Let's try it again. I'm going to hit C for circle select, and now I am selecting everything. That looks good. Okay. I selected too much there, so let's undo that. Okay, let's try again. C, select all of the squares on the top. Okay, now I'm going to go into my materials. I'm going to choose a different value. So I've got glossy yellow already. If I go to select and then checker deselect, now I only have every other square face selected. And if I go to assign a new color, I'm going to go to metallic blue. I've already got that slot in, and so I hit assign. And so now if I come back over here, that's going to look good. Okay. One thing I forgot to do is the tabletop, so I'm going to put that in right now. First of all, let's lower this guy. Again, if I'm in object mode, this entire thing is a single object. And if I try to grab it and lower it, the whole thing lowers, right? So what I want to do is just grab this top part. So first of all, I have to go into edit mode. And then I can just hit this transparency button, and I could say, let's say box select, B for box select, select that whole thing. And now I can grab that on the Z and lower it down to just where I want it. That looks pretty good. Maybe I'll just do it a little bit lower, and good. So there is my chessboard inset inside that. Let's add a plane. So I'll scale this up by 33. Let's give that its own color. I'll just make one here. We'll say green, maybe dark green, just so it's kind of muted. Maybe a little bit darker. Yeah, so that looks pretty good to me. Okay, another thing I can do is put in a background. If I want to choose the globe, choose color, go to sky texture. I don't like this default Nishida, so go to one of these two, maybe this one. And so that's looking pretty good. Okay, that's the board.